The orbital shuttle was a sleek, silver bullet threading its way through the congestion of ships around Kepler Station. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with a silence more oppressive than noise. It was a civilian transport, filled with a cross-section of humanity. Technicians in company jumpsuits, traders with data pads, families clutching travel bags. And in seat 14B, by the viewport, was the reason for the quiet. She was the only non-human occupant. Her species, the Valan, were recent additions to the galactic community, and their appearance was still unsettling to many. Her skin had a subtle opalescent sheen, and her large, lidless eyes were the color of twilight. Delicate, hair-like sensory tendrils framed her face, currently lying flat and still against her scalp. She sat perfectly upright, her three-fingered hands folded in her lap, gazing out at the stars as if she could find solace in their cold. Distant light, the seats on either side of her, 14A and 14C, were conspicuously empty, though the shuttle was at full capacity. A human man in a rumpled suit had approached 14A, taken one look, and abruptly turned to squeeze in with a colleague further down the aisle. A woman with a child had started to sit in 14C, only to pull her daughter back with a sharp whisper. The unoccupied space around the Valan girl was a palpable barrier, a circle of ostracism, built from unease and ingrained prejudice. The journey was halfway through when a final passenger boarded at the midway cargo link, his boots magnetically sealing with a soft click on the deck plating. He was a miner, or looked like one, his heavy-duty environmental suit scarred and stained with the dust of some asteroid or moon. His face was weathered, etched with lines that spoke of long hours and hard light, and he moved with the deliberate economy of someone used to conserving energy in low gravity. His manifest ticket glowed on his wristpad, assigning him to seat 14D, directly across the narrow aisle from the Valan. He made his way down, his calm eyes taking in the scene, the full seats, the averted faces, the isolated girl. He gave no reaction. He stowed his gear in the overhead and settled into his assigned seat, the servos in his suit whining softly as he sat. He pulled a worn e-reader from a thigh pocket and began to scroll, his expression one of simple focus. For 20 standard minutes, the tableau held. The miner read. The Valan gazed out the port. The rest of the shuttle pretended nothing was amiss. Then, the shuttle hit a patch of minor turbulence, a routine wake crossing from a freighter. The warning lights flashed briefly. For most, it was a minor lurch. For the Valan girl, it seemed to be the final straw. A slight tremor went through her slender frame. Her sensory tendrils coiled tightly. She looked down at her hands, and the utter loneliness in the gesture was a physical weight in the cabin. The miner saw it. He looked from her, to the empty seats beside her, to the faces of his fellow humans who were so carefully not seeing. He closed his e-reader with a soft snap. Without a word, he unstrapped his harness. He stood, a solid, steady figure in the aisle. He did not look at the girl, nor did he offer a reassuring smile that might be misinterpreted. He simply reached up, retrieved his small duffel, and then took the 2 steps across the aisle. He paused beside row 14. He glanced at the empty seat by the viewport, then at the one by the aisle. He chose the aisle seat, 14C, placing his duffel at his feet. Then he sat down beside her. A ripple went through the cabin. A few stares were quickly hidden. A man snorted softly. The miner ignored it all. He refastened his harness, pulled out his e-reader, and went back to his article, his shoulder a respectful few inches from the Valans. The girl had gone very still. Her large eyes shifted from the stars to the human now occupying the seat next to her. She watched him for a long moment, studying his profile, the dust in the creases of his suit, his complete and placid lack of attention. The tense coil of her tendrils began to loosen, just a fraction dot Another 10 minutes passed. Then, a soft, melodic voice, filtered through a small translator pendant on her tunic, broke the silence between them. "You are in my light." The miner blinked, pulled from his reading. He looked at her, then at the viewport, then at the reading light he had activated above his seat. It was, indeed, casting a beam across her lap. "My apologies," he said, his voice a low, gravelly rumble. He reached up and switched it off. "Better?" She nodded once, a slow, graceful motion. "This seat is not yours." "No," he agreed. "It was empty. Mine was across the way." "The other one," she said, her translator rendering the words flat, but her eyes were intent. "The one by the stars." "It was also empty." "You chose this one." He met her gaze. "The aisle is useful. Legroom." It wasn't entirely untrue, but the way he said it made it sound like a minor truth. "Not the whole one." She was silent for a while. The shuttle hummed around them. "They are afraid," she stated, not with bitterness, but with a weary certainty. "Some are." The miner conceded, setting his e-reader down. "New things. Different things. It makes a lot of people nervous. Are you nervous?" He considered the question. "I work in the dark between rocks," he said finally. "Pressure seals fail. Gas pockets hide. That makes me nervous, this." He gave a slight, almost imperceptible gesture encompassing the two of them. "This is just sitting." A faint, shimmering hue passed over her opalescent skin, a Valan sign of processing a complex thought. "You are the first," she said softly, "to sit and to speak without a demand or a question about my difference." "Not much to ask," he shrugged. "You're a passenger. Same as me." "My name," she began, then stopped, as if expecting interruption. He waited. "It is difficult for human vocal cords," she continued. "You may use the translation. It means first melody of the evening river." He nodded slowly, repeating the translated meaning to himself. "That's a good name. Mine's a lot less pretty. It's just Leo." "Leo," she repeated, the translator giving it a smooth, neutral tone. "You are returning to Kepler Station?" "Supplies and a bit of time where the gravity doesn't make my bones ache," he said. "You?" "I am an observer. My people wish to understand human social structures. This," her eyes flickered towards the rest of the cabin for a second, "is part of the observation." Leo leaned back in his seat. "Well, you're getting a pretty clear look at one of our worst bits." "And one of your better ones," she said, her tendrils lifting slightly. "The action was small, but its resonance is large. You moved a barrier without a single tool." He didn't know what to say to that, so he just nodded again, as the shuttle began its final approach. The pilot's voice crackled over the com, announcing docking procedures. The spell of quiet between them was broken by the rustle of the other passengers, preparing for arrival. When the shuttle finally docked with a soft thud and the harness lights went off, people stood quickly, eager to disembark. They flowed up the aisle, giving the pair in row 14 a wide berth. Leo unfastened his harness and stood, retrieving his duffel. The Valan girl first melody stood as well, gathering a small, silvery case. They moved into the aisle together, an unlikely pair. As they joined the slow queue exiting the shuttle, Leo felt the stares again, but now they felt different, less certain. He walked beside her, not leading, not following, just adjacent in the bustling concourse of Kepler Station. With its cacophony of announcements and shifting crowds, they stopped at a junction where the ways diverged. The main thoroughfare led to the commercial and residential sectors, while a heavy-duty tram line signposted with Asteroid Worker Transport led towards the industrial docks. First Melody turned to him. Her large eyes held his. "I must file my observational report," she said. "The data on human aversion behavior is now supplemented." "Hope the supplement is useful," Leo said. "It is," she affirmed. "The report will state that while a majority exhibited avoidance, one individual demonstrated silent rectification, a data point of significant value." She paused, and that shimmering hue crossed her skin once more. "But I believe I will file a separate personal log about legroom and sitting and the proper use of reading lights." For the first time, a small, genuine smile touched the corners of Leo's weathered eyes. "You do that." She offered a human-style nod, a gesture she had clearly learned but not yet mastered, its awkwardness strangely graceful. "Safe travels in the dark between the rocks, Leo. And you, First Melody. Try to find a better seat on the next shuttle." He watched as she turned and melted into the flow of the crowd, her opalescent skin catching the station lights. Then he hefted his duffel onto his shoulder and trudged towards the workers' tram, the weight of his tools familiar and grounding. He had given up a seat, and in return he carried with him the memory of a melody, unheard but deeply felt, in the silent space between two strangers. It was, he decided, a fair trade.